Today, I want to continue the search for the second son in characters and stories. This is going to be in regards to the Sonic the Hedgehog series. The characters in many different stories or different series, and each of the series kind of have a different theme. The character is a reason for that, as we'll get into this video. But the theme of this video, or the overall take, is that we're going to be exploring the Sonic the Hedgehog series with the concept of two sons or the second son. So let's go. Monkey King and two suns in the sky. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark, aka Power Made Flesh of No Original Stories. My channel, I like to explore the concept that stories are a retelling of the stars, hence the term stories. I apply this to all of our events, historical, high historical narratives, to our fiction, to our modern day stories as well, religious texts, products. I apply this guy to it. And with that being said, whenever I have anything that's mainstream or popular, I know that the characters are playing out the sky or some form of sky story is going on in it. And today we're going to focus on Sonic the Hedgehog character and how this story or this character has this point to two suns in the sky in different series, not all of the series, but different series. So the reason why I'm investigating this is we're coming out of the Year of the Dragon. The Year of the Dragon ends on January 29th of 2025. 2024 was the Year of the Dragon. And I've outlined that even though it's the Year of the Dragon, we've been seeing the monkeys up, the Monkey King kind of character. And the monkey, the cat, and the dragon are all this trinity involving reset stories, involving passing the torch from one male to another, or to one age to another age, from male age to female age. They also have to do with catastrophe, but also enlightenment. And all of these characters have this play on our mind, where the monkey is the animal that is so-called evolved. And then the dragon is like the carnal mind, but also capable of building an infrastructure. And then the cat is being associated with an aura or spirituality. So all of these are kind of play on an aspect of us. And kind of this mesh of all three, I think, is the path kind of to enlightenment, as I've been seeing in different stories. So with that being said, I've been focusing on a lot of Monkey King stories because the Monkey King is the reoccurring theme. The monkey, the dragon, and the cat are the reoccurring themes in these stories that have two suns in the sky. So me knowing that Sonic the Hedgehog is a character that in some series, not all of the series, has this point to this Monkey King kind of aura. I realized that, this will be an easy series to find two suns in it. And I'm not surprised I came across a couple different scenarios. So number one, Sonic the Hedgehog is a mascot. And I've been outlining that all mascots are a play on bunnies or rabbits. They usually have the same kind of starting initial, like in their first and last name, like a Mickey Mouse, like a Marty McFly, Roger Rabbit, Mario, Peter Parker. These are all characters that go down the rabbit hole. And like the Zodiac Rabbit, they can also kind of have the attributes of other zodiac signs depending on the story that they're in. So these kind of characters will often be swapped in different series or placed somewhere that you wouldn't suspect them to be. This is kind of the norm for rabbits. And the rabbits have this kind of association with the tortoise and the hare. And the tortoise, just like the ram and the rooster, are symbols of Mercury, as you see in this picture here. So it's not a coincidence that in the Sonic game, they have a lot of references to turtles, just because the character himself, in one of his aspects, is personifying Mercury. So you see the similarity between speedsters and Mercury, Quicksilver from the Marvel X-Men comics, The Flash, even Mockery, I think her name is, or Mercury, spelled differently, but all these characters are personifications of Mercury. I'm going to jump right in and start getting started with some examples of two suns in Sonic in the series. And the first couple examples will be pretty clear that they're definitely talking about two suns or referencing two suns. But as we progress, it may seem more symbolic or even like a stretch. But me knowing the spirit of what's encoded in this character, I thought they were important to include. So with that being said, I'll still continue to go over the the symbolism of this character throughout this video, because there's a lot of connections to other stories, and then also tie in the Monkey King as well. So here on the screen is a picture of the Sonic comic book that features two sons. It's a mini-series in the comic, or a three-part series that ran from issue 97 to 99, called Doomsday. And we see Doomsday is often associated with characters who are Monkey King influenced, like a Superman versus Doomsday. Iron Man, which is a Monkey King archetype, is now going to be playing Dr. Doom in a story called Doomsday. So this is a common theme associated with two suns in the sky, as sometimes in the Dragon story it'll be like presented in a destructive kind of way, like two asteroids coming down, or anytime you have an asteroid movie, it's always two asteroids, right? Or the dinosaur gets attacked, it's the sun in the sky, then an asteroid. So it inverts the concept of a second body in the sky to destructive versus influential or spiritual or life-giving. Yeah, you see this picture of it, two suns clear out, flat out. This is obvious that they were going with the two-sun concept. And on the cover of this issue, you see a bunch of Sonic clones. The clones are heavily associated with the anomaly, or the special, or the one. Sonic is considered a special or anomaly, and part two of all of these kind of stories will always be a clone, or an out-of-control clone in some cases. Whenever the one is established, the rule of thumbs is that part two will be clones, like Anakin Skywalker, episode 1. Part 2, Attack of Clones. The Matrix, The One. Part 2, Out of Control Clones. The Anomaly, Special, Miles Morales. Part 2 is Out of Control Spotter Society, which are essentially clones. Same thing with something like Blade, The Anomaly, The Special, The Daywalker. And the second film is these out of control anomalies called the Reapers. So there's always this concept of clones in the second film. We'll come back to the Sonic comic. Another example of this would be in the Sonic 2 live-action film, actually Sonic 1 live-action film and Sonic 2, when Dr. Robotnik is exiled to this mushroom kingdom, another dimension on this planet. If you look at the sun closely, you can see that there's a second body hidden right at the edge of the sun, almost hinting like there's two suns on this planet. And the scene is very reminiscent of Thanos' planet that he retires on after he does the snap. And there's a connection that I'll show you later on between Thanos and the Sonic characters in regards to the Chaos Emeralds, the Infinity Stones, the Rainbow, the different chakras. But yeah, so in Sonic 1, Sonic 2 live-action film, you actually see this hint of two suns. And I know it may seem like a stretch, right? Some interpretations or perspectives of this picture could look like the moon eclipsing the sun on the planet, and the moon just having a satellite or secondary body around the moon. So I'm open to that idea. This one does seem kind of a bit like a stretch, but I noticed it because there's parallels with the Thanos character, and Thanos is a Monkey King / Dragon character, the golden monkey that appears in a negative way to present the reset. And so there's parallels between the Thanos character, where the Sonic character collects all the Infinity Stones or emeralds to become supersonic, to become enlightened. Thanos collects all the Infinity Stones to become to snap, or to create balance, the Libra Dragon. And both of these stories point back to the Wizard of Oz, where Thanos is shown to be like a scarecrow. The Chaos Emerald Hills, the Sonic story in general, is a point back to the Wizard of Oz, and there's parallels that go deeper than that. But what stood out to me is on Thanos's farm world, there's like the dragon fruits, and in some stories I see the dragon fruits as being psychedelics, and then on the Dr. Robotnik planet, it's the mushrooms, right, which are psychedelics that can kind of put you in another realm to maybe be enlightened. So it's almost like hint after hint in these stories. All right, so in this other example, this is Sonic Adventure. It's a video game that was released on the Sega Saturn, I believe. It's one of the first 3D Sonic games. And in this game, it's a 3D game, but it's not fully 3D. Like when you start running, you run on rails. So when you're slow, you kind of can go a lot of different directions, but once you start moving, to kind of keep it controlled due to Sonic speed, it kind of puts you on rails. And a lot of scenes open up once you start speeding, like when you run over a bridge, a whale might jump or something like that, but it will only happen when you're doing that kind of speed. And as a result, there's some scenic shots that occur when you're doing this like sense of speed along the rail. And the sun will glaze or shine into your eyes. So the excuse is that there's two suns put in this game so that regardless of what direction you're running, you kind of get the scenic shot, which makes sense. But knowing that, I thought this was important to include, knowing that we've already demonstrated that hidden in the Sonic games is this sense of there being two suns in the sky. So I just wanted to include this. Shout out to the YouTuber who created this video. I forget his name offhand, but I definitely will tag it or include it in this segment. Fair use. He made this video to demonstrate that, and I just wanted to kind of make sure that this was seen because it kind of reinforces what we're talking about in this video. So the last thing I want to talk about with Sonic is, or regarding the two suns, is the recent Sonic movie that came out, Sonic 3, and it has Sonic and Shadow there, right? And remember, I told you that Sonic is a Monkey King archetype character, and a lot of these Monkey King archetype characters will have a black version of them, right? Goku in Dragon Ball now has a Goku black. Superman, I don't know if you remember, they had the black Superman, right? So encoded in these Monkey King characters is always this kind of concept of the shadow. It might not necessarily be the character themselves, but in Naruto, you have a character who can control the shadows. So there's this play on the sun and the shadow, or the sun and the shadows battle, kind of being encoded in these stories. But in the second film, and the third film of Sonic, after the second film, when Sonic becomes Golden Sonic, right? Which some could say is a play on Leo the lion, or some could say is a play on the golden monkey. Nonetheless, he becomes an anomaly. He becomes Super Sonic. And what happens is, remember the rule of thumbs, once the one appears, or the golden one appears, the following story will be about out of control clones, or clones. To give you an example of how this is done in subtle ways, if you see the movie Alien 3 is about Sigourney Weaver. She's the Monkey King archetype in that film, the androgynous, questionable female monkey who comes to take down the dragons, the serpents, or the dragons. And those dragons get to that world because they infect a dog, Sirius the dog star. But nonetheless, that story has two sons in it. And after she sacrifices herself, the next following film immediately after that is about a clone, a Sigourney Weaver or a Ripley clone. Well, in the Sonic story, we get this sense as well, where we have Sonic who goes golden in the second film, and now this third film, there's two golden Sonics. And so now we have two anomalies who appear at the end of this Sonic film, and the end credits for this has all these out of control robot clones, right? So it's reinforcing the rule of thumbs. Once the golden one or the golden child appears, it's going to be out of control clones. And we see this in our biblical stories. You know, I think Christ says something along the lines is greater work that many of you will be able to do than I was able to do. Essentially saying that, you know, there will be a lot of clones or people's ability to clone his behavior. Something like Star Wars Episode 1 having the name The One in it, right? The Chosen One in it. The second story is about out of control clones. The Matrix, once the One appears, out of control clones in the form of the agents. In the Avengers film, Iron Man is the chosen one. He saves the world. The golden child appears and saves the world. Well, what happens in the second Iron Man film? Out of control Ultron clones, right? This is a rule of thumbs no matter what, and it'll happen in a nice subtle way if you don't pay attention to it, you know. But out of control clones is at the heart of the chosen one or the golden child appearing. It's kind of like a second theme that always has to happen. So sometimes you'll see Sonic's legs in the shape of an analemma, which is pretty much the path of the sun throughout the year. And they do this in a lot of unique ways in a lot of games where the characters are playing the sun. In the Mario Kart 8 game, the 8 symbol is essentially a play on that as well. But often when Sonic's running, his legs is letting you know that you should be thinking about the sun when you think about this character, or this character is playing out the sun. So the biggest hint that there's a second son, or another hint that there's a second son, I should say, is, excuse me, this inclusion of Tails. Tails is Sonic the Hedgehog's partner. Sonic being the hedgehog, a play on both the bunny and the monkey, the one that goes in and out of the ground. Then also the Monkey King archetype. Well, Tails is a fox, which is a dog, and it's a play essentially on Sirius the Dog Star. So you have Tails being Sirius the Dog Star, and then Sonic being the Lepus constellation. You often will see the Lepus constellation and the Sirius Dog Star characters paired together. These characters together encode traveling through the wormhole or the portal, similar to a Marty McFly, right? The monkey and rabbit, Marty McFly. The rule of thumbs for rabbits in storytelling, mascots in general, is they often will have the same first and last name starting initial, like a Bugs Bunny, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Roger Rabbit. These are characters that go down the wormhole or the rabbit hole, rabbits that travel through time, essentially. I outlined in previous videos that these Sirius the Dog Star characters will be tinkering dogs or rabbits that can open the wormhole. Tails is a tinkering mechanic-like dog that can open portals or wormholes. We have Rocket Raccoon from the Avengers Endgame, tinkering rabbit that can work on a mechanic that can open wormholes or is associated with the portal opening in the Endgame story. That's the reason why he survived. You have Ratchet and Clank opens portals. Star Fox is a fox or dog, Sirius Dog Star that can open portals. And this is done even in non-fictional or real-life stories as well, like the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. There's a character named Sean. He's a gaijin, an American who goes to Japan. A character Out of Place who goes through the wormhole. It ends up in Kansas, so to say, leaves Kansas and ends up in a new place. I think they always reference The Wizard of Oz in these kind of movies. But nonetheless, he is baptized by a character named Han, which is a play on Johannes, the Monkey King. And he dates a girl named Neela, which is a play on Nala from Lion King. So you have the cat, being the girlfriend. And he battles a guy named DK, which is the monkey to the top of the hill. Same story as Mario versus Donkey Kong. But the reason I'm bringing this up is there's a character named Twinkie, which is a play on Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And he's played by Little Bow Wow, not by coincidence, because you have the tinkering dog, who was also out of place, Little Bow Wow, being associated with the bunny or the main character in that story. So this is done in a lot of unique, subtle ways, but to always look for this combination of Sirius Dog Star and the bunny or the rabbit or the Lepus constellation as being the characters that go in and out of the wormhole together. And there's a special stage on Sonic 2 where they're running down what looks like a wormhole, but part of it's cut off so you can kind of just see. But you have Sonic and Tails running down the wormhole. Remember, Sonic is the mascot, like Scott Lang, who opens the portal for the Avengers. And then Tails is the dog, like Sirius the Dog Star or Rocket Raccoon, who's also associated with that portal opening. And quite similar, there's another game, another video game character that features a fox or a dog that has this theme of the monkey, the cat, the dragon in it as well. And that is Star Fox. And Star Fox is a character called Fox McCloud, letting you know you should be thinking about this character as playing out the sky. They go through portals just like a Rocket Raccoon from Avengers, which is a dog, essentially Sirius the Dog Star, just like a Ratchet and Clank. And Rocket Raccoon in the Avengers Endgame was specifically allowed to live the snap because he's Sirius the Dog Star, the character to open up the portal. And there's another character who's essential to opening up the portal as far as being encoded characters, and that's Scott. Scott is the name of a character often associated with time travel. Scotsman, the mascot. The character mascots are timeless, right? They're timeless characters. So you'll often see the name Scott associated with the time traveler or people who can exist in multiple time frames. Anyway, in this game, Star Fox 2, which features the dog or the Fox McCloud, Sirius the Dog Star, the game has a binary star system that you play in. I'll cut the video here and I'll make a part 2 of Sonic in regards to Two Suns in the Sky and the Monkey King. There definitely is a lot of parallels between Sonic and these Monkey King stories. And there's definitely more stories that encode two suns or two moons in Sonic. Just like I have more work to follow up with Aladdin. But I have so many different stories to cover over this Monkey King archetype that features two suns in the sky that I kind of want to introduce them all. We can get into finer details with each of the different stories as we progress. But here's a picture of another story that features two suns in the sky or two moons, depending on the perspective you're looking at it. And that features Sonic, and we'll double down on this in the next video. Until then, I'll see you in the next one and look forward to more videos this year that focuses on two suns in the sky.